Welcome to the weekly podcast all about turning the great American RV adventure into stress-less camping. Each week, we explore tips, tricks, ideas, and destinations, and talk to the happiest campers in the RV world. Pull up a seat at the campfire as we enjoy some stress-less camping.
Welcome, one and all, to our virtual campfire.
Right. You can tell this week that we don't have a campfire because you can see us.
Yeah, for those of you who are new to our podcast, first of all, welcome. Chances are you're getting us on something like iTunes or wherever you get audio podcasts. But we're doing something different this week. We are also recording a video. And like everybody else confined to their homes, we have been using the heck out of Zoom. And this week is like a super deluxe episode of the StressLess Camping podcast and YouTube video.
That's right.
What happened is we have been studying or seeing all the trends coming on the news feed that we get about how the RV industry is just exploding, and a lot of people are first-time RVers. They're brand new to this. They've never been RVing before, but because they don't want to go on cruises or they don't want to go and fly, they've decided that RVing is the way to go, and who could fault them? It is the way to go.
Right?
RVing is the best way to vacation, in my opinion. However, being new, there's things about RVing that are definitely different than cruises or flying or any other type of vacation, including just like anything, stuff that's unique to this experience. And so what we thought is we would get some of the best people in the RV industry and interview them for this podcast. So we have got one heck of a collection of industry experts to share their tips for first-time RVers.
A humdinger of an episode, as Tony wanted to say.
Darn it, I was going to say that.
I didn't want you to forget and not have it in there.
Oh, my gosh. That's, a humdinger. That's for sure. Hey, you young people. Before we get into that, we've got almost an hour's worth of interviews. So we've got, this is going to be a long show with some really great information. I discovered, on my social media feeds, there was a paid ad for a thing called a PalmPress. And a PalmPress is a little coffee maker. And I shot a video about this. Well, I got one, and I shot a video about this thing. And it's for boondocking. This thing is really slick. So you can go over to our YouTube channel, or of course, I twisted their arm and got a discount for you on the PalmPress. And on that discount page, which is on our discounts and deals page, there is a $5 discount when you order a PalmPress. But there's also a video there, so you can see my review of it. For those of you watching this video, this podcast video, this is what it looks like.
And where's the camera?
Yeah, I know. So weird. Like, the camera's always backwards. And so this is the PalmPress, but check it out. It kind of pops open. And then you put the coffee in the top here.
It's a pretty handy little gadget.
Yeah, it's all stainless steel inside on the coffee brewing surface. So there's definite advantages over the AeroPress, but disadvantages. And so check out our video. One other thing, speaking of twisting arms and getting deals, we got a better deal for you from Lion Energy.
Yeah.
And Lion Energy has lithium power for your RV, but they also have portable power as well. So let's say you are using a medical device like a CPAP at night. They have a device that will let you plug into that with 110 power and run that all night long. And we've got a 15% discount on all Lion Energy products on our discounts and deals page.
Terrific.
Yeah. So, of course, if you're looking to upgrade to lithium power for your trailer, Lion Energy's got these great batteries, a great source of lithium power, and doesn't hurt to get 15% off, does it? So that's our And of course, lithium lets you go longer if you're a boondocker. You can be out there. They charge faster. They last longer. They're much lighter. Another advantage, you can put them actually in the body of your RV. So
because they don't make that off-gassing.
Right, there's no off-gassing.
There's no acid that'll spill.
You can put them sideways. You could put them upside down. You can put them, in traditional mode because there's no liquid inside. They're light and compact. So other than they are more expensive, they're you get what you pay for.
But they're more expensive, but you buy it now and then you don't buy it again for a really long time, whereas regular batteries you're going to buy every few years.
Yeah, lead acid batteries tend to last a couple years, 3 maybe if you're lucky. Lithium they've got the Lion Energy batteries have a lifetime limited warranty. So, and that's for the life of the battery. Not bad. So go check out lithium. The Lion Energy line of lithium batteries. They've got RV batteries. They've got portable power devices, all kinds of cool stuff, and solar too. So Lion Energy, we got a great deal for you on our discounts and deals page.
Sounds good to me.
Well, we have some fantastic tips and some fantastic peeps with fantastic tips.
We do.
We had most of these were recorded as video, but there's a few tips that were messaged to us, and we've got some of our own for first timers. That's a lot of our podcast episodes are tips for first time RVers or new people, but we've also got some for people who really have been out there a while. I'm kind of out there.
Oh, for a while.
For a while. But seriously, folks, surely you jest.
Oh, boy, here we go. I'm just going to get that shirt made. Oh, boy, here we go.
Oh, man.
Pretty sure that's my catchphrase.
We need one of those bomb drop sounds. So as I go down the rabbit hole of stupidity, with, boom. Oh my God. Anyway, so we have some great advice, but some of it was written in. So we're going to go ahead and play the videos or audio of the various people who we've interviewed, and come back with some advice from some other experienced campers. So without any further ado, roll the tape. We have John DiPietro here with us from the New England RV Dealers Association, who is a columnist and RV industry expert, and he's got a great tip for someone looking for an RV. Welcome.
Welcome, John. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much in our transcontinental broadcast.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the tip, you want to talk about a tip. Well, you're talking about for people that are looking to buy their first RV?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are looking to get into this world. And so,
okay. Well, this pandemic thing has totally rearranged the travel world. So you had categories like cruises and airline vacations, which, I don't know if cruise lines will be able to come back. I know some of them are not going to be able to do it because they have so much money invested in their equipment. And the only way they can pay it back is by having the ships full, but more importantly, having people buy the extra excursions and, the casinos and the gift shops and all that other stuff. But what's happened is their misfortune has turned out to be the good fortune of the RV industry, to the extent that people are looking at RVs. The bad part is everybody's looking at once. No one really can walk into the RV industry, as you guys know, without a little bit of knowledge about it and a learning curve. I'm sure that you'd agree with that on the learning curve, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
So the biggest question you need to ask yourself is motorized versus towable. Now, motorized is the kind that, whether it's a class A, B, or C, is the kind that you drive it. Okay, and you can relax in the back and drink wine and watch movies, read newspapers, or that type of thing. The towable is the kind that you need a truck or an SUV, or if it's small enough, a car to pull. But that doesn't give you the capability to sit in the back while you're getting from point A to point B, which is your destination. So there's pros and cons to both. Personally, I'm a motorized guy, and we've never had a truck or a big vehicle that we'd be able to use for towing. And when we travel with the grandkids, my wife and the grandkids are in back playing games, and again, they're all strapped in their seatbelts and car seats. So we kind of while the time away until we get to our destination. But sometimes we have no destination at all. We just go into the RV and we say, do you want to go north, south, east, or west? And
nice.
Sometimes we flip the coin. And that is really what I consider the beauty of RVing.
Yeah, just getting in and going. It's out there calling your name in the driveway or wherever you keep it.
Exactly.
And it's out there saying, come on, let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's really go.
Yeah. So any tips for helping people decide which to go with? I guess if you have your own truck, that makes the decision slightly easier because you've already got that.
It makes it a lot easier. Another difference in those two methodologies of RVing is if you have the drivable RV like we have, when you get to your destination, depending upon what you're doing, many times you need to rely on something else for transportation, whether it be a shuttle bus from the campground, or a lot of people tow their own car. I don't like to do that because our unit's 24 feet and we could unhook if need be to go to a local attraction. The other thing is when you have a travel trailer, once you unhook, then you've got a vehicle in the form of your SUV or truck to take you around to the local attractions. So you can see that you got to balance the two. And, the other thing is, are you a couple by yourselves without kids? Do you have kids? Do you have grandkids? Are you traveling alone? Those are all considerations that need to be taken into account when you're seriously looking at buying.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I've suggested to people who have motorized RVs is maybe not have a towed vehicle, and maybe use Uber or Lyft or a lot of the ride sharing services, or even the rental car companies that'll come and pick you up. So that can be an alternative.
I mean, on many occasions, we have gotten to a point where we've just called Enterprise, and they had that, number one, they'll pick you up. And number two, they had that $9.99 a day special. Now, that varies. It's not nationwide, but sometimes you can get a deal on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday for not a lot of money, which really which makes it worth doing that and not making it worth towing a vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Just the time alone, let alone those conveniences.
Yeah.
So, well, that's, go ahead.
No, I'm going to say, so before you do anything else by looking at colors and floor plans and all that other stuff, you got to figure out towable or motorized. That's, in my opinion, that is decision number one. And then if you go towables, then you got to say, do you want fifth wheel? Do you want travel trailer? Do you want a truck camper is another option? But there's so many options there. Do you want it to have 2 slides, 1 slide, no slide? Are you going to transport it to a different location each week, or are you going to take it in March or April and plop it on one campground for the whole summer? So those are other considerations that you need to take into account.
Seasonals, which we don't get as much of here on the West Coast, but I know that's a big reality in the Midwest, for example.
Right.
Yeah, and the East Coast as well. So again, decisions. It's not something that you can start looking, say, okay, let's go look for an RV this weekend and then come home with one.
No.
I think that's pretty rare.
If you do, I don't care how much money you have. If you do, you will probably regret it because you'll be buying not necessarily the wrong thing, but maybe not the best thing for you and your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was John and Kathy Huggins who did a podcast for years, and one of the things they said was buy your third RV first.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah. I've interviewed them many times, and they're great people. Buy your third RV first. That's probably right. I'm sure it is, because they've got 69,000 people on their Facebook page. So they're doing something right.
Yeah.
Right.
Boy, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. John, thank you very much for your time today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. And if we want to invite your viewers, listeners, I don't know whether you'll turn it into a podcast or video or just what, but join us every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern for RVing in New England on Facebook, the Facebook page, New England RV Dealers Association.
Great.
7 o'clock Wednesday nights. And you know what? You might learn something, because I learned something from the audience, not necessarily that I do all the research and tell everybody all the right stuff. I learn it from our guests, and I learn it from our guests in the audience, as well as our guests that are on the show. So
yeah, it's a terrific live video every week, and you guys are both fun to watch and very informative. It's a good show.
We don't rehearse. That's probably the best part.
Neither do we.
That's the best way. Seat of your pants.
No, I mean, you see so many people saying, and now we're going to do this for 3 minutes, and then we're going to do this for 3 minutes. In the meantime, the audience is going. With us, you never know what's going to happen. And you know, in your own case, where you're starting out with your RV journey, you know what? Have fun. Be spontaneous.
You don't know what's going to happen, so you might as well just get used to things being in a little bit of chaos and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Organized chaos.
Make your plans in Jell-O. That's another John and Kathy is.
Make your plans in Jell-O. Yeah, that's a good one.
Set your plans in Jell-O.
Great.
All right. Thank you again.
Sean.
We sure appreciate your coming on with us.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
You too. And happy camping. Our next guest on the podcast, I'm going to just let them introduce themselves.
Hello, happy campers.
I'm John.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're living the RV dream. Well, we used to anyhow.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll tell you, I'd really like to be out there again. I
would too.
Oh, it'd be great if our paths could cross on the road.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So for those of you who don't know John and Kathy, or Kathy and John, I did get the memo.
There you go.
Huggins, they for years did Living the RV Dream podcast, and it was a terrific source of information and entertainment. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of helped us really decide to do this podcast. And so it's always an honor to talk with Kathy and John, and here they are. And so they've got a great tip before you go out on your first adventure in your new RV.
Well, if you're going to be full-timing, slow down and take your time. There's no rush. You're not on vacation. It's a lifestyle. So if you decide to go to Denver, plan to spend at least a month or two in that area. Yeah. Slow down, take time off, go watch kids in a baseball group somewhere.
We spent our first year, we called it express touring.
Yeah.
We tried to go as many places as fast as we could. We spent money like crazy. And a lot of it we don't remember, except the pictures were dated, so that helps. But you have to slow down and see stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you're there for. Go to a national park and don't just speed through it. Spend a couple of days in a park nearby. Go in early in the morning when the animals are feeding, or late in the evening, just before dark. That's also the best photography.
Yeah, that sounds good. So it's great to just kind of kick back and relax. One of the takeaways that I have, and there are many from your podcast, is as opposed to making your plans so hard and fast, I think more often than not, you would say our plans are formed in Jell-O.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's probably not quite as easy to do nowadays as it used to be. campgrounds fill up very, very fast now.
Especially on weekends.
Yeah. I mean, we would drive along, and at noon we'd look in the book and say, oh, we'll be about here. Here's 3 or 4 campgrounds. I'll call one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Make a reservation then.
Very hard to do that now.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not as easy, but now there's things like Boondockers Welcome and Harvest Host.
Yeah.
There are more options too, I think.
Oh yeah, a lot more.
We had the pleasure of interviewing those guys who founded those, and a wonderful way to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what we used to do when we first started out is we decided to go one place that we were going to make sure we got to that year. Like our first year, we went to Mount Rushmore. And then I wrote to Rapid City Chamber of Commerce and got all kinds of information about the area. So we spent, I think, 3 months around that area, and we still didn't see all of it.
You had mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. Even now, I think that's always a good place to, if you're going somewhere, contact the Visitors Bureau or Chamber of Commerce. They often have a lot of great
Oh
information.
yeah.
So we also, John and Kathy, have a book and all of their podcasts available. How do we get hold of those, and tell us a little more about the book and podcasts?
Well, the main book is So You Want to Be an RVer. It's available on Amazon and other platforms, primarily on Amazon. In print form, it's $19.95. Ebook is $9.95. We have a companion book called So You Want to Be an RVer.
A work camper.
I mean, a work camper.
That's right.
Boy, So You Want to Be a Work Camper, which is cheaper. I
Yeah,
can't even remember the
$9.95.
price on that one.
But the book takes you from the beginning of how to choose an RV to your first year of traveling. And we give you all kinds of tips about how, like we just told you about, choose some place to go and really visit it. And we talk about the workings of your RV, how your electricity works, how you plugging into auxiliary electricity and plumbing, and just kind of some basic good information that'll help you get started on the right foot for your RVing.
Excellent.
So especially with this episode of the podcast, of our podcast, it's a great companion book. So we'll definitely push the heck out of that.
Yeah.
And it's not a little thing.
No.
Yeah.
This is 8 by 10, and it's how many pages is that?
360.
360
Yeah.
pages, 50 some chapters. We tried to cover as much as we possibly could in this book.
That's
And
excellent.
it's become a Bible to a lot of people. I get a lot of great comments on it when they buy it. So
You
I'm
can
very
run a
pleased
raffle
with
and we'll give you one to give away.
it. Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Sounds good.
You just let us know who won it and we'll ship it to them.
Yeah.
And how there's also a thumb
Flash
drive
drive.
of all of your podcast episodes, right?
400.
Yeah, over 400. I think there were 408 podcasts. Plus, there were 17 of our very first Living the RV Dream shows that were on live radio. That's how we got started. And that's all on the flash drive. We sell it for $100. It's available if you email us at that email that I'm using, livingthervdream@yahoo.com.
Okay.
And we'll put that in the show
we'll
notes
put
too,
that in
and
our
on
notes.
the webpage.
And
Be sure to have a raffle thing.
yeah,
Yeah, we will.
we will do that. for
And
sure.
I have to say, as you know, I have listened to all of those episodes. In fact, I did that. I did that before we started this podcast. So, because it was really a well done podcast. The topics were great. It was entertaining. The audio quality was good. I mean, it was really a high water mark to hit. So that was my
our goal. My goal is to make the very best audio I could so people could understand us.
Well, we just really want people who are RVing to enjoy RVing. There's a lot of people going out there and they have no idea what to do and how to do it and where they're going, and it becomes a disaster to them. And we don't want that to happen, because RVing is a great way to live, and it's a great opportunity to meet people and see this wonderful nation that we live in. I mean, it's just the best.
Boy, that's the best summary I could imagine of
Yeah,
this whole thing.
absolutely.
Well, Kathy and John, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to see you.
Time. It's
And
good to see you guys again.
yeah,
you
you as
too.
well. And hopefully we'll make it out to Florida soon.
You
Yeah.
never know. We
we'll be
might
here.
get to California. You just never
Yeah, you
know.
never know about us. But,
Yeah, well,
That's
you're always
right.
welcome here. That's for
Oh,
sure.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
we appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right, we are here with the world famous Janine Pettit, a wonderful friend of ours who is the founder and inspiration behind Girl Camper, which is a website, a podcast, an entire movement that really shows women how great this whole RV experience can be. So Janine, it's a pleasure to see you again.
So great to see you.
It's always great seeing two of my favorite people. I can't wait till I see you in person again.
Absolutely. Let's meet up back in Arizona again, right?
Yeah.
On my calendar, it's a done deal.
Excellent. So you had a tip for our listeners for making their first experience RVing a happy one. For making their first experience RVing a stress-less one. Do you want to tell us about it?
Well, you know, Peggy, I thought about what you asked me, and I thought, you know, so many of the Girl Camper followers are wannabes, and they don't even know. So I'm going to back it up even further to how to get started, like a tip for how to get started in this all together. And the first thing I would tell people is listen to people like you and Tony. You guys put out great information. So listen to your podcast, read your website, because there's all kinds of information there that you're going to take in and start to get a feel for what kind of camper you want to be. So once you know that, you have a decision to make. Am I going to be a tent camper, a travel trailer camper, a motorhome camper? Make that decision. And once you do, go to a campground, rent that cabin, or rent that RV from Outdoorsy or RV Share or someone like that. So once you've made that decision about what kind of trailer or motorhome you want, go ahead and rent it first and experience it without having to put down that money, because there might be something about it that you don't love, and you're going to save yourself a lot of heartache and loss of those initial dollars if you do that first. Once you're all set up, I would say to you, don't start your first trip as a cross-country 3-month-long road trip. Okay? So slow and steady always wins the race. Do a couple of shakedown campouts close to home. Maybe find a mentor or a friend of yours who camps too and get them to come along with you. Get your feet wet slowly and then get going and enjoy the RV life.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
That's great advice.
We love it. Thank you very much. Great advice.
My pleasure. And thank you guys for all this great content you put out there all the time. I'm always thrilled when your posts come in. And Peggy, thank you for that beautiful post you just gave us at girlcamper.com on the five generations of camping women in your family.
I had an idea of writing that as one post, and I was writing, and I'm like, this is too much for one. Every woman in my family has their own story to tell.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
The fun thing is they have been commenting on the article. So Peggy, for those who don't know, is also a contributor to Girl Camper in the wisdom section, and her nieces have been contributing to the article, and now more content is even coming in from them. So
I'm getting excitement from the generation below me, and every time someone comments what a great story it was, I tell them, well, good, now call and tell me yours.
I love it. I love it. And I was pea green over your pictures. Your pictures just went right to my heart, because I think you and I grew up in a similar generation. I think I have about 10 or 15 years on you, but the pictures just made my heart sing. And there is not a single picture that exists from my camping days. My parents were not picture takers. There isn't a single one, and you had so many.
Oh
It was so fun to look at.
And those were just the highlights out of 3 albums that my grandmother had shipped to me. When I called and asked her for stories, she said, I'm going to send you all my albums. I said, okay.
Well, Well, I hope everyone will go over and read your column at girlcamper.com, Peggy, because you put out great fun stuff, but I always love a nostalgic story too.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you,
Thank you
Janine.
for being with us, Janine.
Always, Barthos. Take care out there. Happy
Talk to
trails.
You
soon.
too, and happy camping. Well, we have one of our favorite shun pikers that we know, Marianne Edwards from Boondockers Welcome. And of course, we talk about Boondockers Welcome a lot on this show.
Especially lately.
Yeah. And so without any further ado, Marianne, thank you again for joining us and welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
So we've been talking about tips from experts, and you certainly qualify as an expert, what with having started Boondockers Welcome and doing so much traveling. What advice would you have for a first-time RVer?
Well, I'd like them to realize and remember that their RV is built to be self-sufficient. So although RVs have the option to plug in to hookups, electric, water, sewer, they're also built to be completely self-sufficient for at least a day or 2 or 3 at a time if you know how to do it. And you don't have to spend all this money up front for solar or even have a generator to test it out. So doing so, even if you're reluctant, doing so will open so many doors to you. It'll give you a lot more freedom, a lot more choices of where to camp, and often for free, and also so to save you money and just open up a whole new world. So even though you might start out plugging in and just getting used to your RV at the beginning, don't wait to try that. Do it in your own driveway first if you need to, on a friend's property, or even just try dry camping. That's camping in a campground without using any of the hookups. It just opens up a whole new world to you.
Yeah, and that's fantastic advice, because I perceive that campgrounds are going to be very, very full. And yet there are so many beautiful places. In fact, you may argue there are more beautiful places not in campgrounds that you can, for example, that place on the beach there's a camp space on the beach that we enjoy very, very much. And that's no hookups at all. And of course, Boondockers Welcome sites are generally no hookups. So there's so much opportunity. And you're right, all RVs are built for that. So take advantage of what you bought.
That's right. You paid for that a deep cycle battery, those holding tanks, and even we've camped for years without a generator, and I've done a lot of boondocking. We just added our first solar panel 2 years ago. So until then, we were always content to just drive on and move on again every few days. But that allows us just to stay a little bit longer. But almost any rig you could buy will be set up that allow you to camp without facilities for a day or 2 or 3, depending on what you're really drawing on your battery. It's usually the battery and the amount of water you use. But and there's many resources to help you. There's many resources to help you figure it out on YouTube. Lots of videos on if you do, and once you try it, if you like it, then maybe you do want to add solar and spend a bit of money. Have a generator if you don't already have one in your rig. But there's also websites like that help you find the out of the way places that it's legal and free to park. One that we've used quite a bit is called iOverlander.com. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, look it up. iOverlander. They're all over the world. It's people who have, it's all crowdsourced and they're all over the world. Now, definitely you're going to be limited to where you can actually boondock based on the size of your RV too. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing an RV. So
yeah, one of the things, if you're buying something new, from my perspective, our perspective, we like smaller rigs just because it gives you more options. But some people want rigs that have fireplaces and islands and whatnot. I mean, there's no wrong answer, of course, but the shorter RVs do give you a few more options in terms of place.
Right, but
Yeah.
the bigger ones usually have bigger like tanks.
Yeah,
and
we have a
stuff.
They
friend
So,
do,
so
exactly.
they
yeah,
have that advantage of being able to last a little longer in terms of water and storage.
that's right. And they have more roof space for more solar panels if you do
Yep.
decide to go
Yeah.
that way. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
they
have
definitely have the advantage that way. Yeah.
we have a friend who just bought a toy hauler with 120-gallon freshwater tank. It's huge.
Wow.
Yeah. So she could stay boondocking for quite a while.
Yeah, she won't run out of water.
Different than us with a 38-gallon tank.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, my tip is basically try it out, because it'll open doors.
yeah, I think that's brilliant. And boy, we sure appreciate having you here again with us.
Yes,
And
thank you so much.
And we use Boondockers Welcome. We really like it. Tell everybody about it. So thank you for what you've done for the industry and for your time today.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
All right. We'll hope to talk to you soon. And until then, all the best.
Okay.
All right. We have the privilege and honor of having Mark Koep back from Campground Views, which is a absolutely fantastic website where you can see the campgrounds that you want to visit before you get there. And Mark himself has been to over 5,000 campgrounds across the United States. Mark, welcome back.
Thanks for
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but thank you. Yeah, we're enjoying it, and anything we can do to help people get out camping, and as you call it, stressless camping is an important topic right now because we got so many people who are all of a sudden discovering that RV is pretty cool and it's a nice way to travel this country with your own stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. In your own controlled environment with your own sheets and all of that. And you can, if you don't like what's out the front door, get in and go and move it.
Yeah, and it's exciting because so many all businesses were affected by this pandemic shutdown, but the RV park and campground industry was on a record pace. Going into the summer, and all of a sudden, bam, this thing hit and it just shut down. A lot of parks missed Memorial Day, right? They weren't open for Memorial Day,
Right.
so it's been a big change. And so for the folks coming in the industry, you are the bright light for the industry. We really want to serve you well and make sure that your experience is as good as possible.
Absolutely. And so having visited 5,000 campgrounds and such a position that you're in of seeing all this, I'm sure you have some great tips for prospective RVers, our newbies, as it were.
Yeah, the biggest thing is you are going into a new paradigm. It's not like hotels. So with the hotel, you can go online, you can book it, you can book your flights, you can book your rental cars. It's a little bit different with your campers. Now there are some businesses, all the KOAs, right, you can do online reservations. But when you look at the whole scheme of RV parks and campgrounds, some you can book online, some you still can't. So it requires a little bit more effort on your part to find the perfect campground for you.
Boy, that's an understatement. There are all manner of RV parks. As you mentioned, the KOAs, which is a fairly consistent, really positive experience, but usually with a lot of amenities, especially if you have a family. But then there's a lot of mom and pop owned campgrounds who still have the big book and a pencil and a telephone.
So we track at Campground Views, we track 16,000 places where you can camp overnight in the United States. About half of them are public parks, half of them are private parks. And what does that mean? So a public park would be something owned by the federal government, owned by the state, owned by the county, owned by the city, and run for your benefit. And then private parks are folks who are running it for a profit. They own the land and are renting out spaces. Both of those experiences become uniquely different. Usually on the public parks, you can have a little bit less amenities, a lower price point, requires a little bit more effort on your part. The private parks make it up for with better amenities, better services, easier access, and they usually tailor their experience to whoever you are, right? So if you're a family that's looking to do your first summer trip in an RV, you might want to look at places like the KOAs, the Jellystones, the family-oriented parks. Now, I know some folks are nervous about COVID. What I can assure you, though, is our industry has really made the properties COVID safe. So they're making sure they're cleaning things. They're closing amenities that they can't keep clean. They're taking the appropriate steps to make sure that you stay healthy during all of this. So one of the things that's been very nice about this industry overall, it has been its responsiveness to the needs of the consumer. So one of the good things about folks thinking about buying an RV right now is that the industry is ready for you now.
Yeah, that's the truth. And I know the RV dealer that I worked at, they're doing video tours. So if you see RVs on their lot and you're interested in that specific RVs or 2 or 3 of them, they'll actually take you on a video tour. And then once you've decided, yeah, I want to come see it, then you come into a clean RV. And it's neat to see the industry adapt from the campgrounds to the dealers to just the whole industry. And you're right, it's just perfect.
We've been in the industry, so we're full-time RVers, meaning we sold everything we own, we bought an RV, and we travel the country. It's not a small RV. We have 500 square feet. It's a gigantic space. It's a nice apartment on wheels that we tow around every once in a while. But we've been in this lifestyle, and that was why we built Campground Views, is because we felt like the information was so bad and a video would show it. So we currently have 3,000 parks on video that you can see a video of the park. We have another 300 that have a 360 video, so you can look around and actually see the sites. And then we have another 35,000 photographs. So to that point, it's nice to see the industry start to catch up with where we've been trying to push them the whole way. Now they're actually coming on willingly and getting videos and photos and all that type of stuff, because it helps all of us as consumers make a better decision. You know what you want when you see it. Now they're going to finally show you what you're going to get. And to your point about the dealers, Marcus Lemonis just announced that they're doing a virtual RV show in September. And I mean, whatever your opinion is of Camping World, that's a big thing when that national brand is doing this. I think they can fundamentally change the way people begin their RVing experience by going virtual. And on the industry side, if we follow suit, we can do the same thing and create this really good experience for folks to go camping and grow our industry as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
There's the internet has been a big factor in making this whole industry more accessible, more enjoyable in so many ways. So it's a good thing. And you're a part of that with Campground Views.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try. You try to build something that you'll like, and then hopefully other people like it, and you go from there. I think that's the way any good business is built, right?
Yeah, I know Peggy and I certainly use it. So
Right.
I appreciate that.
great. So, well, Mark, thank you very much. A great tip, and always a pleasure to see you. And we hope to cross paths out there on the road at some point.
So sounds good. Safe travels out there.
Likewise.
too.
Thank you. Well, we are thrilled to have back on the podcast our good friend Robert Morales, aka Traveling Robert, and he travels with over 100,000 people every week.
Doesn't that get crowded in the RV?
Well, and it's a brand new Winnebago RV.
That's right.
On his YouTube channel. So, Robert, welcome.
Thank you.
Luckily, it's a virtual crowd, right? And but by the way, thank you so much for having me, Tony and Peggy. And it's so great to be able to talk to you guys again.
Yeah.
Likewise, yeah. So, and have you finally are getting that new Winnebago out on the road that you have? Finally,
for the past 2 weekends, we've been going out, nearby in southern Florida, getting the hang of it again.
Yeah, new micro mini travel trailer. So you have a tip for people on their very first RV journey.
Well, yes, this is a mistake I made at the beginning because I was more used to, other types of travel in which you have to plan a lot. And when you have the RV, you realize after a while that you don't really have to make every single reservation and plan everything to the minute. Because first of all, if the GPS says 3 hours, it's going to take 5. And so you end up rushing from place to place. I mean, if you're going to go to Disney World or a place like that, yeah, by all means, make the reservation. But if you're planning a road trip, let's say from Florida to Tennessee, just maybe plan like the key points, but leave something to chance. Especially during the week, in weekdays, you're gonna find some place to stay last minute, pretty much 99% of the time.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about having an RV is it's always there. You already have your bathroom, you have your kitchen, you have your bed. So it's really all about seeing where you want to see. And if that place is full, go on to the next
place.
If worst case scenario, by 6 p.m. you haven't found anything, there's always a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart or a Cabela's where you can spend the night,
Yeah, that or Boondockers Welcome or Harvest Hosts, or there's so many options. So yeah, that's another of the good things about having an RV. So well, that's a super tip, Robert. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And where's the best place for folks to find you?
Traveling Robert on YouTube and pretty much everywhere else. Just search for Traveling Robert.
Sounds good. We enjoy your videos and encourage other people to do so as well. So thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, right? There's some great advice there.
Great advice from some fantastic, wonderful people who know what they are talking about. And we did have a friend of ours that wasn't able to we weren't able to hook up together with for a call or a video. So, Tony, why don't you tell us what Adam said?
So this is Adam Douglas. He is, as you may know, we run the Rockwood Mini Light Fan Club on Facebook, and there's almost 5,000 people there. And Adam is the go-to guy for a lot of information. So he had some advice for first-time RVing, and that's regarding your water heater. Notice I didn't say hot water heater. Fill the water heater at the water station. So your water heater is going to have typically 6 gallons of water in it, and a lot of times people will fill their freshwater tank, and then when they get to the campsite, if you're in one of those sites that doesn't have full hookups, they fill their freshwater tank and then they turn on the pump when they get to the campsite, and it's taking 6 gallons of your water away to fill that. So his idea is to fill that water heater while you're at wherever you're getting the water in one of those sites. So he says start filling the fresh tank, and then once it's starting to get full, turn on your water pump, open the hot faucet on your kitchen, which is now the water pump is going to start feeding your water heater, and of course it's going to come out the kitchen faucet, and it's going to be spitting water. So you're going to get that. If you're watching the video, you're probably going to have to clean the inside of your screen right now. Anyway, so keep running the pump until your hot water faucet in your kitchen stops spurting and spitting, and then turn it off and turn off your pump and keep filling your fresh water tank, and that way you'll have used wherever your water source is to fill your water heater rather than draining 6 gallons out of your water tank. That's really a good tip.
So you'll be carrying around 6 extra gallons of water, and you won't run out of water quite as quickly.
Correct. And that's a cool tip. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So see, we have all kinds of great tips today. One of the good advice things that we've come across in this is to rent an RV first.
That's right. And that is a great idea because especially if you haven't camped or you haven't camped much in your life, you aren't really maybe sure exactly what you want. So maybe you think you want a fifth wheel, and then you rent one and you go, oh, I really hate towing a fifth wheel. I'd rather have a motorhome. So renting an RV, renting maybe several different kinds of RVs for different situations is going to help you really make sure that you know what it is that you want.
Yeah, one of the things that we've found, especially when I was selling RVs, people would have, let's say, teens, and they're like, oh, I got to have a bunkhouse to bring my kids with me. Well, the kids may not even want to go with you, or they might want to be outside in a tent. So if you rented a bunkhouse model and discovered that this isn't working,
teenagers don't even fit in the bunk,
right? Then you have saved a lot of money, because we did have people who would buy an RV and 6 months later say, what's this worth? And it's thousands of dollars of depreciation the minute you drive off the lot. So it's great to rent an RV before you buy, and that way you know what you like, the features you like. Try out different ones. So RV Share, the point of all this is that one of our sponsors, RV Share, has a great deal on our discounts and deals page, And so you can rent an RV, or let's say you have one that sits around more than you'd like. You can rent it to other people, and there's some great insurance there, and make some money.
Make some money and help somebody decide if they want that kind of RV.
Yeah. So everybody wins. I love when everybody wins.
Winner, winner.
Winner, winner. Everybody's a winner. Well, did you get some great tips this week?
Did you get too many?
Oh, there's no such
No
thing.
such thing.
Yeah. You can listen again.
Hopefully you're not overloaded, but we really wanted to give you great information for getting started from the people who are out there and really know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and we're really fortunate in that we have some great friends in this industry who really know what they're talking about and are willing to share. So we'd like to thank all of them
Absolutely.
for joining us this week on the
Yes.
StressLess Camping podcast. So our hearts and thanks go out to all of the people who contributed this week, and that's John DiPietro, Kathy and John Huggins,
Janine Pettit,
yeah, the girl camper,
Marianne Edwards from Boondockers, welcome.
yeah, another great service and a wonderful lady who started it, Mark Koep from Campground Views, and another super terrific service where you can see where you're going before you get there. And
Right.
lastly, our good friend
Traveling
Robert Morales. So who said he's going to be in Quartzsite again this year?
That's right.
So,
And
and that's
so
where
did
we're going to
Janine.
be as well.
So let's
Yeah.
all hang out in Quartzsite, everybody.
Yeah, if you're going to Quartzsite, hit us up over on our Facebook group. We may organize a shindig of some sort. So
That'd be fun.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
shindigs. Well, did you get something you can use? Did you get something share-worthy?
Did you think of something that none of our guests thought to say?
Ooh, that's a good one. You can join us on our Facebook group. Over on Facebook, of course. We've got a bunch of really nice people over there who are very polite, and we make sure that everybody stays, campfire friendly.
That's
so
right.
join us on our Facebook group.
Which
and-
is StressLess Camping Podcast.
Yep. And of course, you can find all of that by going to our campfire on the internet, StressLessCamping.com, which Peggy's pointing to. We have some tote bags with our logo on them, and she's pointing
I'm
to one
pretty
in the
proud that
background.
I pointed the right direction the first try.
Right? Because it's like...
Everything is opposite of what you think it's going to be. If
Yeah.
you haven't done this, try it just for fun, just because it's so weird.
I think everybody right now has a Zoom account, and they're all doing this.
Yeah,
and
probably.
Your cat walks into shot when you're not expecting whatever it happens to be. So, well, thank you again for joining us. We sure appreciate your being here. We appreciate your telling your friends, and hopefully we've delivered a lot of value to you again this week. And so, with that being said, thank you for joining us, and
Happy camping.
We hope you learned a lot, had some fun, and got some tips for your next stressless camping adventure. We're honored by your reviews on Apple Podcasts, which helps others find us too. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on the adventure. And we look forward to your joining us next week. Until then, happy camping.